In the year 2053, after the last war, the crime rate has risen by over 800%, and this has caused a crushing influx on the prison system. To solve this issue, the government has come up with the Box Rehabilitation Program, which in the past would have been considered inhuman. This program makes prisoners choose between two options. They can volunteer themselves for instant extermination or live their entire sentence inside a box. Food and water would be supplied to them at the discretion of the lawful citizens they betrayed. If anyone tries to escape, they will be exterminated. Inside one of these boxes, a French woman is struggling to survive with numerous wounds. She was given a sentence of 4 years, and she still has a little over 2 years left. Her pot has no water left, and when she checks the hatch, instead of food, she finds a razor. After some hesitation, she finally decides to give up and uses the razor to self-delete. On a rocky island in Australia, a bunch of boxes can be found near the coast. One day, 2 kids are playing around and throw a rubber band ball at one of the boxes, which wakes up the woman inside. Prisoner 13 discovers that her hands and legs are tied up, so she pulls at the rope with her teeth until she finally frees herself. She's been given a sentence of 7 years, and today is her first day. Suddenly, a light on the wall beeps and a small hatch opens. 13 looks out and sees the kids walking away. After just a second, the light beeps again and the hatch closes. As 13 begs for freedom, a screen on the box activates and a video explains how things work. It ends by telling her that she's where she chooses to be. 13 has a breakdown and bangs on the walls while swearing that she is innocent. She cries and screams until she exhausts herself to sleep. Sometime later, the hatch opens again, so 13 puts out her pot for food, but nothing happens. Then she starts inspecting every inch of the box more closely, hoping to find a way to escape. However, when she touches a spot for too long, she gets a light shock. This doesn't stop her, she just keeps looking until there's nothing left to do. As hours pass, 13 starts having trouble being alone with her own mind and scratches the box with her nails as her sole form of entertainment. Meanwhile, in a different box, another prisoner is waking up. Her sentence is for 2 years, and she still has over 500 days left. Sometimes hears a voice that asks her if she is still alive. One evening, she tries to mess with the light panel, which is immediately caught by the camera in the box. An alarm rings, and a voice announces that extermination is imminent before the metal rods on the ceiling start coming down. The prisoner yells in panic and asks for help through the open hatch to no avail. She lies down on the floor and watches in horror how the metal rods come closer, only for them to stop just above her face. The screen and the voice doing the countdown start glitching, and the woman smiles because she thinks it's over. Unfortunately, the glitch ends and the metal rods finish going down to crush her to death. The next morning, 13 continues to look at every inch of the box, but she still finds nothing useful. When it starts to rain, she puts the pot near the open hatch to gather water, and she can finally have a drink. Sometime later, 13 wakes up from a nap when she hears a voice. A young girl is at the hatch asking about her sentence, and when she hears that it's 7 years, she concludes that 13 must be political. The girl fills the pot with fresh water and hands over a small bag of food pellets that 13 immediately eats. Then the girl reminds her that citizens will decide every prisoner's future, ignoring 13 when she says she's innocent. As time continues to pass, 13 can feel her sanity slipping. She can't handle the isolation anymore, so she grabs the rope and starts to self-delete. For several seconds, she can't breathe, but when she is about to die, her hands drop the rope. Then she has a breakdown, realizing she can't even control her own death. A few months later, 13 is still alive and trapped in the box. She's been given seeds and a piece of newspaper, so she drops them in the bowl and holds the paper near the hatch to get some light. Unfortunately, the articles are in a language she can't read. 13 cries as she feels she's being tortured. Sometime later, 13 puts her arm through the hatch and searches around until she finds the rubber band ball. Now she has something to keep herself busy. Days continue to pass with the same boring routines. 13 sleeps, plays with the ball, and when the control panel opens the hatch, she looks at the landscape to get some sunlight. Soon, wounds appear on her body and get worse every day. Meanwhile, in a different box, a man is going through his 5-year sentence. He's already done 1,000 days, so by now he's nothing but an empty shell that repeats "I am where I choose to be." One afternoon, a drone picks up 13's box and drops it in a forest that holds dozens of prisoners. The girl comes back and asks her what she's doing, so 13 answers rehabilitation. Then, the girl shares that she's been reading Shakespeare, who has been banned for a while. 13 doesn't know the name, but clarifies that she can read. She is just not allowed to do so in the box. After pointing out that there can't be rehabilitation without books, the girl holds 13's hand and quotes a line from Romeo and Juliet. 13 finds it beautiful and hopes to read it someday, so the girl tries to lend her the book. However, 13 turns it down because she doesn't want trouble. The girl gives 13 some food and promises to visit again to read to her. After the girl leaves, 13 keeps thinking about her touch and her lips, so she ends up getting naughty with her hand while the camera records everything. A year after her imprisonment started, 13 is eating some seeds from a bag and finds a tiny book hidden among them. She lies down while facing away from the camera before opening it, and is delighted to find Romeo and Juliet. Reading the poetic quotes brings her some hope. The next time 13 gets fresh water, She washes her body and makes sure to clean her wounds to avoid an infection. Touching the wounds is very painful, but she pushes through. Then she throws the dirty water out. The camera catches this and classifies it as wasting water, so 13's box is taken back to the coast. Eventually, the girl visits again and wonders what 13 did to be moved. Instead of answering, 13 asks her how she decides who to feed. The girl explains that she just walks around and talks to as many prisoners as she can. Today there seems to be a storm coming, so she'll have to cut it short. 13 also asks her age and learns that the girl is 16, causing her to admit she reminds her of her dead sister. Weeks continue to pass and 13 is only sane, thanks to the little book. She keeps it hidden in a crevice in the box and carefully takes it out whenever she wants to read a quote, always making sure to face away from the camera. Sometimes she's so desperate to read that she depends on the moonlight, even though it isn't as strong as the sun. One day, the drone moves the box again and 1-3 watches it fly above the ocean. Once it lands, a person appears at the hatch eating an apple just to taunt her. 13 cries as she asks for at least one bite and begs for mercy, only for the man to say he won't show mercy to any of the animals in the boxes. If it were up to him, every prisoner would be executed without chance for rehabilitation. After a short argument, the man says he is willing to make a trade. 13 will get an apple if she lets him get dirty with her. 13 is so desperate for food that she agrees, so she bends over with her rear against the hatch. As the man abuses her, the patrolling drone catches them red-handed and opens fire. The man is instantly killed and a bullet that manages to get into the box hurts 13's leg. Despite the overwhelming pain, 13 reaches outside and grabs the apple, which she starts quickly devouring. Unfortunately, she discovers that the apple is full of worms and ends up throwing up. That night, 13 is woken up by the alarm. A voice explains that trading for food is against the rules, so as punishment, 13 will have to go through 7 days of insomnia. This is the only warning 13 will get. If she breaks the rules again, she will be killed. A bright light is turned on inside the box, and the alarm never stops ringing, so for the next 7 days, 13 is unable to sleep. She tries covering her eyes and ears with her shirt to no avail. She can only yell in frustration as she feels her mind falling into a downward spiral. Sometimes the alarm does stop, and 13 tries to sleep, but as soon as she closes her eyes, the alarm starts again. During the insomnia week, 13 reaches 2 years in the box. Sometime later, 13 notices that there are people happily living their lives outside the box. The voice suddenly announces that she's endured a wrongful conviction, so the citizens have agreed to release her. A beautiful female face appears on the hatch and somehow makes her way inside. 13 thinks she looks familiar but doesn't recognize her. The woman sits on a couch while playing with a teacup, explaining it's all a hallucination, and 13 isn't getting released. In fact, this beautiful woman is how 13 looked before getting captured. The woman explains what kind of mental rides the human brain is capable of going through and laughs hysterically while 13 cries in pain. When the box voice finally announces that the punishment is over, 13 can finally sleep and the hallucination goes away, but it's left her traumatized. A few nights later, 13 sees fireworks in the sky. The box voice explains it's the new year and to celebrate, the citizens have chosen to give amnesty to all the prisoners in boxes, except for those who are politically convicted. This means 13 doesn't get to leave. That night, 13 discovers that she's starting to lose her teeth. One morning, an elderly woman appears outside 13's box and taps the wall with a rusty razor before speaking. She explains that she spent 15 years in a box, and the experience has shaped her into the person she is today. The woman gives 13 the razor before saying that she hates the person she's become. 13 stares at the razor on her skin but doesn't dare to use it. Eventually, the Shakespeare fan comes by again, and it takes 13 a few seconds to realize she's real. After filling the pot with fresh water, the girl touches 13's hand and quotes the book, so this time 13 can finish the sentence. A few months later, 13's belly has grown severely. It turns out she's pregnant because of the encounter with the Apple Man. The next time the girl comes by, she tells 13 that her people want to save her and let her live out her sentence in their care. Her words activate the alarm and the hatch closes while the girl runs away. 13 can only scream in agony over losing her chance. Some weeks later, a new man appears at the hatch. He notices that 13 is pregnant and she still has 4 years left. The man wonders if 13 would recognize mercy and points at a box on fire. He thinks a quick death is all 13 should ask for, but she refuses to take his offer. Later, 13 notices some water dripping through the ceiling and reaches up to remove a loose screw. She uses it to file her nails before dropping it. Then she scratches the hole made by the screw, hoping to make it bigger. Some months later, 13 starts to feel contractions. She gets on her knees and painfully pushes until the baby is born. 13 holds the child close while cutting the umbilical cord with her teeth. At that moment, the alarm rings and the box voice announces that 13 has broken another rule by bringing a second person to the box, so termination is in order. Suddenly, gas fills the box and puts 1-3 to sleep. When 13 wakes up, she discovers her baby was taken away. She screams as she has a breakdown and begs to have her baby back. After 4 years of confinement, both the heavy storm and the strong sea waves keep hitting the box. Because of the holes 13 created, water keeps pouring in and messes with the light panel. When 13 reaches out to see if she can find anything useful, The system glitches because of the water and closes the hatch on her arm. Screaming in agony, 13 keeps pulling her arm but fails to get it out and instead hurts it more. Soon, the system glitches again and the hatch opens, finally releasing her with a broken arm. Sometime later, 13 sees a bug and stomps on it with her bare foot. Then she grabs it and eats it, almost puking in the process. Water is still getting in, so she gathers some in her pot, but soon the box is getting flooded. Even with the water around, 13 tries to read her book. Eventually, the water level is so high that 13 can barely stand. The system detects an illegal interference and announces that extermination is in order. As 13 struggles to stay afloat, a drone shows up to pick up the box. However, as it flies away, the drone is struck by lightning and it crashes on the ground. The box falls too, and soon the waves take it away. In the morning, 3 young people are playing by the coast. They notice the box washing ashore, followed by 13 herself, but they ignore her and go home. Comment your favorite movie, I might recap it next. Thanks for watching.